The Law Show on CL 650. A comprehensive look at everything you need to know about the law.
Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so cross your heart? Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so cross your heart?
Hey, and welcome to The Law Show on CL 650. I'm Zach Spencer, and today we're talking about a serious subject with a couple of lawyers that spend all of their time on this. It's personal injury. And from McQuarrie Hunter, we have a partner, Kevin Hyde, and associate Nat Hartney from McQuarrie Hunter in the personal injury. You call it PI. Is that the short term?
That's the short term.
All right, I have a question for you. David Halkett comes in from the Family Law Division. And he's a partner, but you're way younger. Like, how did you become a partner at such a young age? Because I'm going to bug him when he comes in.
Well, I want to say a much better lawyer, Zach. I'm not going to say that. No, he actually, David became a partner. He's the head of the family law group. He became a partner here, actually, when I came in as an articling student that year. So that'd be back in 2008. Yeah,
all right. I'll give him the gears when he's in. I'll say, Kevin was in, and, he's much younger than you. All right, so personal injury is something, it's one of those areas of law that you don't really want to know about it, you don't care about it until it affects you. And then you want somebody to represent you to get you the most you can for your injuries and any change of life that you might have. So before we get into all of that, we have lots of different subjects we're going to get into today. What should you do at an accident? What if you've been involved in a hit and run? When should you start a claim? Is there a statute of limitations? We have lots of different subjects to get into, but I want to go back to McQuarrie Hunter and where you are in the Lower Mainland and what your firm does. It's a sort of a full-service firm, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We're a full-service firm. We do many different areas. We have both barristers and solicitors there. The difference being the barristers are the ones that go to court. The solicitors are the ones that do all the business law and whatnot, real estate and so on, contracts. So we have a family law department, a wills and estates department, obviously the personal injury group. We used to do assurance defense as well. We do wills, and then, as I said, we have the solicitors on the north side of our office that do real estate development, land conveyance, and so forth.
You do it all.
Employment law as well. I shouldn't leave them out for both employee and employer.
A lot of people think you need to go right downtown, right, to get somebody who's going to do the best job for you, but that's not the case, and I'm sure it's the case for many of you, is that, well, you don't want to have to go downtown every day. It's nice to be going somewhere else. It's not as busy, easier to get to.
And we're a one-stop shop, so you can come in and we have a lawyer that likely can help you with whatever other issue you might have.
So you're at Surrey Central, right?
Yeah, the Central City Tower there.
Mm-hmm. And so it is very central. Actually, if you look at a map of all of the greater Vancouver area and you put your tower there, you've got the Tri-Cities to the north, you've got Richmond, Vancouver, and New West to the west. You've got all of the Fraser Valley right at your doorstep. So you really have everybody right there.
Yeah, it's a nice location and very easy to get to, very central.
All right, so Nate hasn't had a chance to talk yet. Now you came from it a different way, right? You were a criminal lawyer, and then you came into personal injury. Do those two marry up at all?
They do, in the sense that going to court and being an advocate is a skill that takes many years to learn, and in fact, it's a lifelong journey, really. So the more you can get into the court, the more you can hone your skills. The better. And so I did criminal law for about 6 years. I was in court basically every day. And like I said, last time we were here, about a year ago, I got kind of recruited to join McQuarrie Hunter through my connection with Kevin. And it's just a fantastic firm, and I'm so happy I made the move. And it's a really good place to be.
And for us, we get a very experienced trial lawyer.
Now, having spoken to many lawyers on this show through the years, you need to have a bit of a flair for the dramatic when you go into court. Is there something that about going to court that you need to have a certain personality? Because you might be great at what you do in law, but when you get to court, a little stage fright, you need to be able to perform, right?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. If you look at trial lawyers as a whole, there's going to be a third that are the typical gregarious and outgoing and very showy, and then there's going to be another third that are maybe less so, and then there's going to be another third that are not, that are maybe shy and quiet. But there is a place for everybody along that spectrum, and everybody has their own style. And some people are very effective with understatement, and some people have a different style. But there's all types, and they all can be very successful.
Now, knowing how personal injury works with ICBC and car accidents, the majority of these cases and files that you open don't get to court, right? But that last few percent is really what distinguishes one law firm from another, isn't it? Can you explain how that works?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely correct. When you start a claim for personal injury by filing your notice of civil claim and you get into the litigation part of it, the majority, up to 96, 97% of these, I'd say, don't actually go before a judge at an actual trial.
Is it on the courtroom steps, though? Does it happen the day of the day?
It does sometimes, because as a matter of fact, you often get your best offer right on the eve of trial, because that's the point where both parties are at the most risk, and ICBC's especially at risk because they're sending a lawyer in at a cost that they're paying for, and they're risking, if it's a sympathetic plaintiff or they're not 100% sure of their case, a large award where the judge looks at them and says, why didn't you pay this poor person this money for this accident that clearly wasn't their own fault? And I'm hearing this story of how their life's been turned upside down as a result of this accident, both personally, professionally, not just the physical injuries, as I was mentioning last show, but the emotional, psychological effect that an accident can have on someone. And, ICBC's really rolling the dice, and they know this when they go to court before a judge and decide not to pay out the claim that's being advanced on behalf. That being said, most of the time on the eve of trial, unless there's something really contentious such as liability or pre-existing injuries, this type of claim usually does settle, and the lawyer's there to give the client the peace of mind that this is settled for a fair amount.
I guess you never go to the movies and turn your phone off on the eve of a trial then, if everything's can come down to the last night.
They can actually settle right in the middle of a trial. There's another lawyer at our firm, Neil Mulholland, just had a case the other day, a while back, where he settled it on the second day. ICBC decided we're going to throw in the towel on this one. The judge seems to be listening to everything that this plaintiff is saying, and they're articulating how the accidents injured their
So they're thinking this isn't going well.
This isn't going well. This judge is feeling bad for this guy, and let's throw in the towel and take that last formal offer.
But there are firms that maybe don't go to trial that often. They don't have a Nate to go in and plead the case.
That's correct. We have a whole team of lawyers, personal injury lawyers. We all bring different strengths to the table, and I enjoy being in court. Nate loves being in court. If he had it his way, he'd be in there all the time, as does other lawyers at our firm, such as Neil Mulholland and Doug Connolly and Perry Armitage. We have a lot of experienced trial lawyers, some with gray hair, and when ICBC is not coming to the table with a fair offer, as I say, we will take ICBC to trial on your behalf. Again, though, that might be our advice, but the client is essentially still the client. They're running the show here. They're in charge. So if they don't want to deal with the stress of going to a trial, and then we'll just simply take it right up to the trial and try to take that last best offer we can. But we're keen to go to trial on the ones that we think when ICBC is not coming to the table and being fair or reasonable in the circumstances, we'd love to go to trial for you. So
why do you love going to court? What is it? What part of your personality does it get you? Does it get you excited about it? Is there a rush?
It's the unpredictability of it. You know, whatever you think is going to happen in a trial is not what happens. And it's just, I think it's what I'm good at. You really have to be creative, right? That's the difference between a plaintiff's lawyer and an ICBC lawyer. An ICBC lawyer is trying to break it down, whereas a plaintiff's lawyer is trying to build it brick by brick by brick by brick. It's almost like a painting. You can see it. So you have to be creative. You have to be able to think on your feet. And it's always different. It's some lawyers like to be in an office and some like to be in court, and I like to be in court.
So you were on the other side. You worked with ICBC at one point, and then you came across to representing individuals. So were you the lawyer that would go to court for ICBC?
Exactly. I have run trials for ICBC on the other side of things. And for me, obviously, I'm a personal injury lawyer now. I prefer being on this side of the fence, so to speak. But
that gives you great insight into how they operate, right?
Exactly. I got several years of working with different adjusters, different, being on the dealing with different ICBC lawyers as well, and seeing just how they operate and understanding it. And that's adds great value as acting for the plaintiff clients that I have now. Understanding what they're thinking on the other side, how they're preparing and building their case, and what to look out for, and how to build our case.
And so when you come to McQuarrie Hunter and someone hears us and they maybe know somebody or they're personally involved, how is it decided which lawyer you get? Is it just, how does that work?
Well, often people are referred directly to us. Often it's who's available to take that call if someone just calls in or whatnot. But essentially, the first lawyer you meet is going to be the lawyer that's running the file for you.
Sure.
But you get the value when you come to McQuarrie Hunter of our entire personal injury group. As I mentioned last time, we have monthly meetings. We all share walls all down the office there. So, you have a wealth of knowledge. You have 7 different lawyers that are working together on your file to ensure that we get the best result possible for you. Any issues come up or we want a second opinion, we just go to the lawyer next to us. When it gets to more and deeper into the litigation, we often bring a second lawyer on board. So I often bring Nate now or Neil Mulholland before. To jump in once we get, looks like trials looming, because you're going to get better representation if you have 2 lawyers going to bat for you rather than one who's trying to scribble down everything at the same time, present your case. So when we do actually go to trial and when things get serious near the end as the trial date's approaching, a second lawyer is going to jump on board and you're going to, essentially have the full force of the McQuarrie Hunter team behind you. Various people from our junior lawyers working on quantum research to, the trial lawyers preparing the cross-examination medical experts. So you're not just getting one lawyer, essentially, even though that's the one lawyer you meet at the start along with their paralegal. You're getting a whole team working for you, especially when the litigation gets close to the trial stage.
That's the voice of Kevin Hyde. He's a partner at McQuarrie Hunter. Joining us in studio as well as Nate Hartney, associate at McQuarrie Hunter. When we come back, we're going to get into sort of kind of the basic stuff, like what do you need to do at an accident? Whatever should you do if you get in a situation with a hit and run? Then we'll talk a little bit about ICBC, saying people are faking, claims. So we'll talk about all of that. It's all about personal injury from McQuarrie Hunter next on CL 650.
There's more of the show still ahead. This is The Law Show on CL 650.